Hello YouTube, Hunter Bracket Speed here. So I wanted to show off my awesome new work goggles. There they are. I just picked them up from Lee Valley Tools here in Toronto. They're, I think, a nationwide chain, but those goggles are only $10 until June 17th. So a friend of mine, Gary Griswold, posted about them in case anyone wanted to do any steampunk stuff. And they would look totally amazing for that, but I just like them as work goggles. They look just like the ones that Bruce Mitchell uses in the carving tutorial of this mask, which I'm still working on. Here's the progress with the sculpt. So you saw where I left off last time, where I had done the hand sculpting in epoxy sculpt. As you can see now, I've kind of dremeled into all the details here, and I'm created all this texture. I've also used a heavy wire brush on it afterwards to create more texture in there, so that eventually when this gets painted, all that texture is going to show up. I'm pretty happy with the way this has gone. The nice thing about epoxy sculpt is that you can add back on to it later and it'll still bond. So partway through the carving, I had softened these eyebrow ridges a little bit too much for my liking, and he didn't look as angry. And also on the lip, in the process of carving out the hole for the mouth to breathe, I also did the same with the nostrils, but in the process of working on that, I softened the expression on the lips a little bit, so I was able to add more epoxy sculpt and get the expression I want. Also, don't ask me why there's a freaking giant doily on my dining room table here. I have to talk to the wife about that. You know what? I could have been done with this sculpt a long time ago, but I don't think I'm done yet. I'm still playing around with different Dremel bits to get different effects. I want the texture, but I also want it to have a chiseled look, as if it was a stone or wooden mask, perhaps. But I still also want to get the features kind of as defined. I just want to get the look that I want. That's the best way I can describe it. Sculpture is one of those things that you can spend endless amounts of time on, and I like to do that. So before this even comes to paint, I'll probably do some more work still. I like this process. It produces quite a heavy mask, at least when you make one as large and as far back, one that reaches as far back onto the head as mine, one that has the antlers. This is a very heavy mask. I don't know if I'll wear it on Halloween or not. I actually, to be 100% honest, kind of envisioned this more as an art piece than a functional mask, but I think I'll wear it on Halloween. I mean, once I get the leather straps and stuff on there, it'll probably be, I'll get a gauge for how long I could wear it. I'm definitely going to wear it in my videos and stuff promoting the hunt, and again, probably on Halloween as well. So that's the progress with this. It's an interesting technique. I certainly wouldn't recommend using this technique if you've never made masks before. I would stick with the sculpting and molding and latexing way of mask making, because if you don't have a ton of experience with sculpture, then you may have trouble nailing the sculpture in the time that you have for the epoxy to sculpt, or to set, I'm sorry. If you want to make something if you want to sculpt your mask out of clay, oil-based clay at least, you have unlimited time to get the sculpt looking exactly the way you want. That's why I spent so much time on my undersculpt, so that I could have kind of a visual idea of where I wanted to go. Then when the epoxy went down, I had limited time to get there, but I knew what I wanted, and I have experience with sculpting, so I was able to pull it off. If you haven't that amount of experience with sculpture, you may want to start with traditional styles of mask making, because then you can get it exactly the way you want it. So that's a brief update on my epoxy mask experience. I'm pretty happy so far with this guy, and hopefully I'll move into leather work within the next few days. So that's it for now. Happy hunting to all of you.